Hello,
Hey guys,
welcome.
how's it going?
How you doing, Kushti?
Doing well. So as usually, a lot of things going on in parallel. So let's start Onramp one by one.
Let's hit it. Go for it. I joined you in your car today, if anybody noticed.
Uh, all right. So let's start with Spaces maybe. So we had one
Yeah.
on demo last Friday. So how it was for you?
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. We had you, we had Joe Armenia, we had the Demirage King himself, Luis Libre, come up and chat. And I think it was a good combination of all your opinions and all your thoughts. I thought it went really well. I took it from the car on the way back from Virginia. Hopefully nobody noticed. But I thought you were able to, of course, always give a good technical side of it. Joe kind of gave a more bigger picture of it, and Lewis gave a nice kind of what it looks like from somebody on his angle as a user. So I think we got some good ideas from there and some good thoughts on how there were some good questions on how we essentially market that, right, for the average Joe and the average user, as people start discussing more things like, what's Bitcoin going to do, and what are these other chains going to do, and Ergo already has this kind of thing. So I think it's a good stepping stone to get people out there to get used to it and to get familiar with it and not scared, because I know a lot of people's first reaction is to be scared of demirage or storage rent. So not only debunking those myths, but getting it out there as kind of an advertising tool and an adoption tool would be great. What do you think of it, Kushti? Did you have fun?
Oh yeah, it was great. Also, I've tried to invite people from other communities, Demorush related, such as Frycoin guys, but not many of them around even these days. So it was quite old altcoin. Probably community is not active at all. And then try to get some guys from real world Demorush paper currency, Kemgaur, which is some local Demorush based currency in Germany. But actually got in touch with guys after the Spaces, so that they were quite slow. So just from yesterday, talking with them actually. So yeah, maybe then we can have another Demorush Spaces like in, I don't know, 1 year maybe with more folks.
No, Demorush is every 4 years, Alex. Every 4 years.
Yeah. Talks. Continuing our Twitter and so on, right? There will be next Spaces, right? Quite soon, not this week, but next week likely, right?
Yeah, and you had a good topic for it too, Alex. Why don't you announce that topic?
All right, so it will be about gold, so on-chain gold, in different forms. So, derivatives, right? Derivative instruments pegged to gold, then gold backed on-chain assets, and then digital insurance for physical gold and so on. So actually a lot of topics to discuss, a lot of schemes.
Do you have any people from the outside you're calling in? You're going to try to invite in?
We'll try to get someone. Let's see. So for gold, but it's not an outsider now, right? So Bruno is member of Ergo community.
That's true. Much. Yeah.
And aside of that, so I need to think who can be interested in gold related topics. But yeah, well, hopefully can find some people.
Awesome. Great. Well, that'll be not this that'll be, what is that, the 9th, next Friday, Kushti?
Yeah, like so.
9th, 4 p.m. UTC. We'll make a nice tweet. We'll get HQ to make us a nice graphic that's not AI based. We don't want to ruffle any feathers. And we'll get that out there to advertise. We'll try to advertise it every couple days as well. Also make a Reddit post. But it also helps when you guys spread it too. So last tweet I did, the original one, I think got about 10,000 views by the end of it, and every advertisement that I did, I just quote tweeted it and added a sentence, so it seemed to help with rereadability as well as outreach. So I think that we'll take that track again for how we utilize that, see if we can get that up again. But yeah, so look for that soon. Bookmark it, please, and show up. We had one person last week, I think it was Jack, was brave enough to jump up on the stage and ask a question. And his, I think, was about marketing and getting the word of DeMirage out there and how that was going to work. So that was a great question. So I encourage everybody also to come up and ask questions at those spaces. That's what the point of those are. You have Kushti, you have Joe, you have a chance to ask some questions based on a specific topic, and take advantage of that, guys. What else is new, Alex?
Actually, I think, well, in regards with gold, there could be a lot of interesting opinions, right, which can be expressed by community members. So it would be good to hear. So maybe we have some preppers in the community holding physical gold around backyard or something like that. So, yeah, let's see.
Right.
All right. Then, yeah, well, a lot of other discussions, right? So, well, we are even discussing doing some documents on using Ergo for real-world use cases, right? And by the way, just yesterday, I've provided another loan to the Kenyan cooperative. Probably it's needed to be documented somewhere, right, on the forum, for example, like, well, how many loans provided, what is default rate, but, well, in case of this cooperative, it's 0. Probably because it's cooperative, right? But yeah, the most interesting question, I think, is how to scale it, right? So...
It's tough. We had a lot of people. I think we had 30 or so people that helped donate to the 2 raffles that you put on to kind of kickstart these loans. And I handed out tokens to all 30 and sent them with instructions. And I think we only have about 4 or 5 people in the Good Things DAO on Padilla. So I think while people are happy to donate, having them participate is another question, Kushti. So my thought there is I guess we just have to keep trucking on. We have one party member that is fairly interested in working on that, which is great. But I think perhaps a dash or a website for Good Things DAO is the next step that integrates the loans, how they've gone out, how many defaults, so people can have a quick look at what those are and what those are progressing. I'd hope perhaps at some point, Kushti, maybe something that'll also help kickstart the DAO a little more for people's interest is to maybe start voting on, not this round, because I think 3 just went out. I think you just sent out a couple loans, right, Kushti? Maybe the next round we put it up to vote just to approve that kind of thing. So perhaps that's the next thing. But yes, in the intermediate, I believe, I think you're right. We need a dashboard. We need some things because we can't just rely on the Excel backend for those kind of things. We should be able to extract that data, put it in a website, and show some historical data there as well with repayments and how that works to get a little more trust and have people see that it's a little more baked than they perhaps think it is.
Actually, I think, well, for starters, even Excel would be good, right? Because, well, currently it's just like nothing, just conversations. We have to extract data from. Yeah, so, in addition to loans, there are many other cases where Ergo would be useful, right, for the real world. So, well, it makes sense to make some document with some instructions and, well, include maybe some thoughts on how to scale loan providing up, right? And what else? So actually, we even discussed in the main Telegram group doing something like, another white paper, right? So, well, which will reflect the current status of the protocol, right? So, how it is operating, what are the use cases now, and what is projected future, right? So, well, after 5 years, there is some experience, right? And it could be good to reflect it. And pay for the to future with it.
This is on Ergo or on Good Things DAO?
Oh, it's for Ergo, right? So
right, yeah.
I think real world adoption, right, is what should be targeted now. So
I agree. I think we have enough things. We have enough things going in Ergo, at least right now, that are proof of real world adoption, and not just some of the other bullshit that you see on other things. So I think we at least have the ammunition there that we can create something and carve a better path forward, at least visually on paper, for people looking into the chain. I agree. We have what we have. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and this is not a way to differentiate from others, right? Because, these days, I've taken a quick look around, and aside of like 3 maybe blockchains, excluding Ergo. So, all others are basically the same, right, in regards with value proposition. And this value proposition is pretty useless, right? So, it's not about real world, but yeah, somewhat TPS, right? But what are they going to do with this TPS? No, not even clear. Right. A lot of things are doomed to fail because they are not well designed monetary wise.
Well, I would say too, Kushti, a lot of these things that we see in chains, at least when I went to the conference, I still have nightmares from that speech, but a lot of these things are built around fads, right? So you have these protocols on chain that are built around people, wanting rewards in NFTs, or people wanting something else. And these things are not things that are going to sustain for a while, because what happens with fads is people just move on to the next fad. And then, as we saw with like Solana and the NFT craze that was there, they started onboarding onto Cardano right after that, and everything dumped hard. So if you build things not based on fads but based on real world applications that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, as long as human history in some cases, then you have a lasting product that's going to stick around and support that. So I agree. It's not always sexy too, Kushti, but it's a thing that actually matters in my mind.
Yeah, but I also think it's actually sexy because, all talks about, I don't know, TPS and low fees, whatever. So I've attended a presentation of some blockchain back in token 2049, So yeah, late April, and it was, so they have high TPS, 900 millisecond block time, which is have luck to send just small packets, from Argentina to Mongolia in the time.
How do you keep those nodes synced together, Kushti, when you have a 900 millisecond block time?
That's easy. So I guess that's just another data center based blockchain, right? So I mean, within data center you can have even less, but yeah, that's not real blockchain to start with.
No, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, so what can you sell in this case of TPS and low latency? But then what are you going to do with that thing, right? So.
Well, you also sell control and predictability, Kushti, and that's what a lot of these, if somebody with a lot of money is dumping money into something, they're going to want control and predictability, and centralized systems provide that. So yeah.
Yeah, but also you cannot do anything in the real world, I believe. So what can you do? Well, is some Web3 somewhat, right? Because otherwise, you're going to touch something in the real world. So yeah, with data center based blockchain, you will probably get into issues like e-gold before Bitcoin and so on, right? It's risky, simply very risky. So then it's quite obvious why those guys are not going to solve anything in the real right, because you have both real world risks, right, and tech decisions going all together. All right, so then development wise, there was good, as usually, developers chat yesterday, a lot of updates will be covered, right?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I've been taking a hiatus from the dev update videos, but I'll be back on this weekend with another one. I've taken a 3-week hiatus, and yeah, I'm not sure why. Just been traveling and out of town. So yeah, we'll return this week for a dev update. I can't promise it won't be live and drunk with Joe. Maybe not. We'll see. Or it's going to be pre-programmed. I have a guest that was in the back burner that I was need to reach out to. Maybe we'll bring them on. We'll see. A lot of maybes here, but that's what you get. Maybes. But yeah, those are always fun. What, hey, Alex, are you going to, is your developer DAO planning on ever utilizing the grant program that the EF has just released last week?
Oh, I don't know. So actually, we are currently discussing, what we are doing, right, and where to get money for it. So currently we have some bounties, right, and evaluating submissions for, there are like 2 submissions for fleet bounties, fleet tutorials. Then the question is how to structure the devs DAO and how to get money, right, for development. All that stuff. So we are discussing. I'm also doing again some calls with different entities, possibilities to get funds, right? But it's a bit hard question, right? When it's proof of work cryptocurrency with control our emission. But maybe something's possible. So they're doing a lot of talks. Then development-wise, so 6.0 is mostly finalized, so polishing things now, doing tests and so on. And well, it's under review already partly. Then I think, well, maybe by mid-August it will be possible to launch testnets. Yeah, let's see. So it depends on reviewing, right? So I need to revisit all the changes done, but yeah, well, an optimistic case that seems to be doable. Then, yeah, well, back to subblocks. There is an updated proposal published on the forum, right? And currently, I'm writing some basic codes, doing basic entities and network messages based on that, based on the reworked proposal, and then yeah, we'll create some roadmap, maybe issues, and well, already inviting contributors. So here also I know well, some additional funding would be useful, but anyway, so it will be done.
Are we getting closer to Dexi Gold?
Even in current form. So for Dexi Gold, there is audit ongoing by 4eyes. So some more actions were deployed just days ago. And yeah, so currently I'm rechecking along with 4eyes LP redeem, which is the most touched from LP actions. So then yeah, LP can be fully deployed. So currently there is mint and swap actions deployed, right? And redeem is the most updated from the original Spectrum contract. So yeah, you need to revisit it. Then LP can be fully deployed, and then yeah, we'll go to deploy bank. Then there are some news from Gluon. So, well, there is mainnet testing going on, as far as I know. And yeah, I also participated in doing buyback transaction, right? So buying back goals from the pool just yesterday, and it was successful.
And will you start posting more tokens, participation tokens, Oracle tokens, once Dexi Gold is in full swing on Auction House?
Oh, you mean to sell more tokens? Maybe. Let's see. So, well, for now, maybe it's better to launch, right? And
yeah, exactly. Yep.
How's it going as it's close? Yeah, let's see. So, well, for now, there is no rush, but yeah, we need to decide what to do with those tokens. So, whether to sell them or burn. It's actually quite interesting.
Well, it's going to be different. It's going to be different from SigUSD, right? SigUSD is Oracle version 1 is based on kind of a altruistic user sense, in that we're altruistically running it just for the benefit of Ergo and SigUSD. Whereas Dexi Gold, there's actually a monetary incentive to keep your Oracle running and running well. So right. My thought is that you don't, necessarily, we shouldn't compare the percentages between how often a SigUSD Oracle goes down and back up compared to Dexi, because with Dexi, there's going to actually be incentive to run the Oracle. So yeah, you might be right. It might just be better to burn the rest of the tokens and keep it to the, what are there, 15, 16, 17 people there now? Something like that.
Oh, so like 19 or 20 tokens distributed.
Yeah.
Out of 30 or 32. But yeah, so the issue is that if you are selling tokens, right, for example, and then Oracle's doing their job, then they actually are causing more gold emission, right? Because, well, more oracles means more emission.
Right.
So maybe then, yeah, at some point it's better to stop. But yeah, it's a hard question, right? So do you want to get more ERC now and put into the pool, right, of buyback? Or do you want to have and have more emission? Maybe it's better to have less emission, right? So, well, it's hard to say, and probably should be decided by oracles. And maybe it's better to keep a few tokens for now, right? For some maybe players willing to join, right?
Maybe throw them in a multi-sig like the developer DAO or a treasury somewhere, so it can be a group decision on how to distribute those as well in the future.
Right. So yeah, I'm thinking about I don't know, maybe some external players would like to join in future, like some gold vaults or something like that. So let's see. Maybe it's better some tokens. All right. Then yeah, what else? Dexi Gold, and for SecUSD actually. So finally, Dark Side sent all the update tokens. So well, now the control is finally distributed, and the question is what to do next with it. So I don't know. It makes sense to have some group decision, I guess, on that. And then maybe burn tokens, but yeah, before it makes sense to decide, right, what to do. So maybe to launch a new pool like Dexi or something like that. But yeah,
Alex, will a lot of these kind of things go under the umbrella of the developers DAO? Like, will you like merge oversight of these kind of things to that?
Well, not CQSD, right? Dexiglion. So Dexiglion, well, the idea is to have only gold-related people in decision making. So I had an idea to have something like Gold Cooperative, right? It's made of Oracle operators and developers of Dexiglion, Chain Cash. As Gold Oracle is also used there. But yeah, well, it seems well that there is no one who can take well some duties, right? In regards to that, maybe there is no incentives also. Incentivization problem. So yeah, let's see. But yeah, well, it's for now it's going well. In this form, just like Telegram group, right? So nothing more formal. So and if it's going well, maybe that's enough for it. Then yeah. So for Ergo Devs DAO, so well, the idea is to use it to well support core development, right? Basic libraries, things like explorers, tutorials for developers, materials to get new people on board, to educate people, something like that. So well, from applications, it's currently probably just chain cash, right, to some degree. But yeah, even here it's mostly not about Ergo Devs DAO. But yeah, so it's still well forming Ergo Devs DAO. All right, so what's our Ergonauts update? So I'm talking too much this time.
Sorry, was muted. pull the Dan. Not much in the SIGs this week. I believe we're getting ready for the swag to be delivered. And we're trying to decide whether we should what percentage we should ship to the Vegas event and what percentage we should ship to my house as the storage. So once we decide that, we'll do that. We'll ship it to the hotel or the event and go from there. But for those of you that don't remember or didn't hear it on one of the dev updates, our final plan as the Sigmanauts are we bought hats, we bought crew necks, we bought t-shirts and sticker packs, and we're going to sell them at Rare Evo, hopefully to regain some of the costs. And then we're trying to pair with Anon Real, who I believe the ball's in his court right now while he tries to design the framework. But the general idea is there that every item that we have in stock is a specific NFT on Auction House, and you just go there, you buy it. You buy a preset shipping label also, which is an NFT on Auction House. And then it takes you to a specific form that reads your wallet on Auction House. And essentially you put in your address or you put in a relay address. I know people want to remain anonymous, so perhaps a relay service that I found some for the US. I don't know if they exist outside of the US. I'm sure they do. And then we get that message that form gets sent to the Sigmanauts, as in this person's redeeming their NFTs, and we then package it up, maybe put a dick pic in the box with it, and ship it out to you for the swag. So that's the end goal for that. But we're starting off with a supply of swag for Rare Evo. So that's going to be fun. I think we've got some very fun hats that we ordered that you'll see soon. And the sticker packs are fun. It's the Ergo sticker, it's the Ergo fan sticker, and it's the old style astronaut sticker with the Ergo flag. So that'll be good. What else? No development on Sigma Lock as of this week. LGD was taking some small time off for family matters, so we should see that re-engage soon. And again, the Sigmanauts roadmap after that, looking at Sky Harbor UI, the Sky Harbor smart contracts, and then as well MFRL messaging. Unless C8 develops something similar, then that'd be great as well if you guys were reading chats about that. But I think C8 is more kind of application-based data transferring messaging as opposed to SMS, but we'll see. I'll get clarity on that. What else? I think that's about it. Sig mining pool is trucking along. We have a full test node set up with a full mining core on the test node. I've been mining to that with, I think, Death Grips on, and I are mining testnet together. We got about 100 and maybe 200 mega hash pointed towards it. So it's safe for now, I guess. And mining core is on a server, so Cheese has full access to that server, and Cheese is going to integrate storage rent code in there so we can get it all tested before we move it to the production server. So that's good. And the VM hosting sites that Pulsar recommended that we're using for testnet seem to be working pretty well, and it's like $13 as opposed to $50 per server. So eventually Mark and I will move the mining core Sigmanauts pool over to these servers so that we can start actually not draining money out of our treasury and instead actually making money and having the pool fee cover that, as well as perhaps some salaries for people running the pool. That would be Mark. So that's good news. And that's on the roadmap there. I think that's all I can remember, Kushti. My memory dies every day as I get older, so that's the best effort right there. Let's take some questions, eh?
Yeah.
All right, we've got one from Ursa Miner 2010. I don't know if you'll know this, Kushti, but he's asking if you can speculate, will Ethereum people use Dexi or Gluon approach for gold stable coins?
I don't know.
Or
So,
I mean, with those
yeah, I
guys,
mean, as far as I know, there is EVM implementation of Jet, right? And yeah, Gluon seems to be possible. Yeah, and for Dexi probably also, but yeah, well, it's hard to say. So some things are doable on Ethereum, right? But just too expensive. Like order book based DEX, and well, here I don't quite know about feasibility of doing Dexi on top of Ethereum.
Gotcha. All right, next one we've got for you, Kushti. Can you speak on the first Sigma chain and question of whether to do merged mine sidechain or standalone blockchain, and would merged mining cause any restrictions versus standalone?
Merged mines causing what restrictions?
Well, the first part of the question is, can you speak on the first Sigma chain and question of whether to do merged mine sidechain or standalone blockchain?
Yeah, actually, hard to say. So it depends. So the idea is to find some partner, right? Also some funding, right, for that. Then it's hard to say, right? So it depends on external factors actually.
When you say find some partner, Kush, do you mean find some entity that would need a customized kind of blockchain for their own needs with different configurations and parameters, perhaps than the main Ergo chain has, that would then help fund this side chain and then either use it exclusively or mainly use it as well as other people? That kind of, is that what you're talking about?
Right. So I'm in talks with some potential partners, right? So it could be then some private blockchain even, right? With time stamping on the Ergo blockchain. It could be some dedicated Sigma chain, right? Well, merged mining, mine setting also may be good in some cases, but yeah, well, it's not discussed because otherwise you can do a lot of fancy things, but yeah, I mean probably too much. But if there is no real demand, then yeah, the big question is what exactly to do.
All right, it might be a stupid question, Kushti, but what if the incentive by a private corporation to mine their Sigma sidechain is more incentive than mining the Ergo main chain itself? I mean, I'm sure it's going to level off, but that could steal hash from the main Ergo chain, no?
Yeah, so for private blockchain, it could be not proof of work even, right? I mean, why to use proof of work? It could be just something like, I don't know, BFT protocol, or well, just something straight like round robin. So not proof of stake even, right? So, but yeah, I mean it depends on setting. So then hard to say.
Gotcha. And the second part of his question is, would merge mining cause any restrictions versus standalone? Like, is there a benefit to merge versus standalone, or are there any restrictions that come with merged mining versus standalone?
So merged mining actually has some advantages, right? Because you are using existing hash power, right? So there is no need to advertise to miners and so on. And probably incentivization is simpler here, right? So just some surplus is enough for miners. Basically it should be bigger than validation cost, which is actually quite small. That's it. Also, well, as some integration costs, right? If mining pool is not supporting matched mining. For delegated, you actually need to find miners, right? to attract them. And then, I don't know. So historically, it's hard to say, right? Which choice is better. So we have some successful, let's say, merged mine side chains, such as Dogecoin, for example, right? Which is a merged mine side chain of Litecoin. Now maybe trendy in regards with certain aspects of cryptocurrency than Litecoin itself, right? Dedicated side chains also could be successful, right? So, it's hard to say then.
All right. Well, we got a really important question next, Kushti.
All right.
It's from Ursa Minor. Kushti, how much do you bench press?
Bench press.
Bench press.
Yeah, some number is needed. So what? I don't know.
Just say like 350.
350. Okay.
Perfect.
I need to measure.
All right, let's see. We got something from me. Perfect. Wombo asks, QX, can you speak about the Fiat Onramp you're trying to onboard and potential this can lead to? Yeah, so as some of you know who watched over the last couple of weeks, I've been in talks with a wallet provider, not a wallet provider, sorry. A swap service reached out to me and wanted to kind of coordinate a kind of a promotion. And I asked them how we could also get on their buy icon, and they said, well, that's by this by this Onramp, this other company. So they were nice enough to hook me up with them, and I've been chatting with them, and they gave us an initial offer to onboard Ergs. They mainly deal in Europe, minus UK and Canada. With the US coming in about 6 to 8 months, they're working on that paperwork. They say it's an absolute bear to do that. So we have the price for Ergo already. It's something that we'd fundraise for if that was interested. But in the meantime, I thought, why don't we take it to the next level? And that would be that why don't we see if we can offer some of our programming time as well as theirs to do something a little unique, and that is integrate Spectrum DEX into their buy orders. So the idea would be we'd start with Rosen. The idea would be you would go to this site, like a swap site, and instead of doing swap, you'd click the buy tab, and you'd pull down, you'd see Ergo, you'd see Ergs, and you'd see Rosen. We'll start with Rosen. And what would happen in the back end if you choose Rosen is just exactly what it does with all other tokens when it doesn't have enough during the buy. It would do a swap with Spectrum for Ergs. So you'd actually buy Ergs from whatever pool they were using or whatever exchange they were using to hold those Ergs. You'd buy the Ergs, and then in one swoop, it would then do a swap on the Spectrum DEX for Rosen, and you'd get Rosen in your wallet. So what's that enable us to do? That enables us to put a widget on the Rosen website or integrate on any website. So ErgoPad could have a widget. CrooksFi, if they have a token, could have a widget that you just pull down and you buy direct. So all these project tokens could have a widget that says, hey, you don't have to buy Ergo. You can just buy our token directly with fiat right from this widget and never leave the site, essentially. So that's the end goal, but it involves transparently in the background just a quick swap with Spectrum. The thought was, if this Fiat Onramp is doing that already with central exchanges, because if there's not enough ERG for you to buy in one exchange, they're just going to grab it from another one or their local liquidity pool, depending on what they do. Why can't we just have them integrate Spectrum DEX? It's beyond simple. So that's what we're trying to do. So I'm waiting on, I proposed that to the Rosen guards at least to see, and the Rosen team to see if they're willing to help with some programming time as well as some guidance to these people. And also if they're willing to, have a button on their site that says buy Rosen direct right from there. Because once you buy Rosen direct with Fiat, in the future, you're going to be able to go anywhere. So it's essentially a Fiat ramp right into Rosen. And then from there, we scaled to other projects. So you can essentially buy any token on this provider that has a liquidity pool on Spectrum. So yeah, that's the end goal. Once Rosen jumps in and I think we're waiting on Joe, so may have to bug him at like 11 or 12 p.m. AM my time, so I can get his opinion on this and see what he thinks. But once that happens, I just need to write up a little paper for the group, and then they'll come back with me a quote, and we can make that public and talk about what it means and see if we can fundraise it for it. But I think that'd be great. I mean, you're paying a premium with these kind of fiat on-ramps as opposed to going through a central exchange. But it's all on chain. It's all transparent in that matter. So I guess you're paying for that. Let's see. What else do we have for questions? Mark Shark. Is it safe to assume this connection with Spectrum would be open source? Yeah, I mean, it'd just be essentially something on the site side that you're doing the fiat buy that it's just code that goes and does a swap. It's a simple thing there. Let's see, what else do we have? Something for Kushti before he falls asleep. Okay, here we go, Kushti. This is from Luke Graysmith. Russia allows mining Bitcoin soon, but not exchange or payments, I think. How does Russian regulation look for Ergo and other altcoins?
Oh, I actually need to check. So, there is some new law coming in September, and before that, one lawyer actually will provide me some interpretation of it. But it seems like mining of everything will be possible, which is quite good actually. Right. And then, in regards with exchange, so it will be allowed in certain regulated zones, something like sandbox zones. But I still need to get an interpretation from a lawyer.
All right, what else do we have here? Wombo's asking about the Rosen guard updates recently, and asking how we think it'll be when doing a guard update with 50 different guards. That's a good point, Wombo. It's been going faster lately. There was a 4.1 and a 4.11 or a 4.2 or something. There were 2 or 3 right off the bat on the guard that the watchers haven't seen yet. So they're really prepping these guards and testing them for the Ethereum bridge. But my thought is so I'm going to be honest with everybody. I think I've spoken about this before. Currently, the current 10, 11, 12 guards that are there right now were chosen from the ecosystem, right? They're leading projects in the ecosystem or trusted entities in the ecosystem that are all public, right? And it's kind of on a loan system, right? So right now, we don't see any profits from the bridge. The guards don't. And that money that would have profit is essentially put into a escrow account. And when it reaches a certain amount, at that point, then we will start seeing profits from that. So my thought is there's a little bit of apathy going on because you haven't put your cash forward. You haven't put anything forward. You're kind of on a loan system here until you get profits. So there's no skin off anybody's back other than the server they're running. Once we scale beyond those 12 guards or 10 guards, and people actually put up 75, 100,000, 150, whatever the guards determine that collateral for slashing could be, I think at that point you're going to see a lot more people of the guards interested in, yeah, this is a profit mechanism. We have $100,000 in the game, and it's going to get slashed if we're five versions behind and we're not paying attention, or if we're acting dishonestly. So I think, Wombo, once we get to that stage, you're going to see a lot more action, a lot more of the guards, quickly making those changes and updates kind of there, and signing those manual transactions if needed. But yeah, I'm hopeful that it's going to be. I mean, it's not terrible now. It just takes a day or two to get everybody on board. But I think it's going to even be better in the future. All right, we've got a question from Mark the Shark. Maybe you know this, Kushti, or who's doing it. He says, for the Fleet SEK tutorials that people are working on, will there be something that covers the building of a TX and is automatically signed by the users using Fleet SEK? For example, it happens in ErgPi and reading the seed phrase. Do you know who's working on the Fleet SEK tutorials? Is that Nemo's group, or is it somebody outside of Nemo's group? You're muted, Kushti.
Yeah, so you can ask Nemo, so he's tracking for all the contributions. But yeah, there are some external contributors as well, so it's not just Nemo.
I think that's
But for signing, I think it should be covered. Maybe already.
I wouldn't hesitate to. I think it'd be great if somebody would gather up a proposal and find every single utility or thing in Ergo that is lacking documentation. I think there's going to be a lot. And write a proposal to the EF to take some of those $10,000 a month funds and fund people to actually write tutorials and documentation for these things. I mean, yeah, I think that'd be a good use case for that.
In Ergo devs, actually, we're also supporting this. So, Fleet is just the first call. And then, we also, I guess not announced, but discussed, tutorials for multi-signing, in like everything. So, Fleet, UpKit, and so on. Because, it's the most confusing functionality, it seems, for developers, right? So there are some developers finally implemented that, like Minotaur, Unreal, it's Zero Knowledge Treasury. But yeah, it's cumbersome. So
I think MGPi and LGD made a multi-signing app as well for Ergo Hack. Have you seen that, Kushti?
Yeah, Moria, right?
Moria, yeah, it's really cool. Yep.
Moria Finance, yeah, but the experience was painful, right? So we need for more tutorials here. And actually, I don't know. So it's not that bad documentation, right? Often, but there are for sure a lot of areas where it can be improved.
Yeah, I think in these cases sometimes it's when you have somebody that hasn't built the tool or used it every day since its build, they'll run into a hole that they just can't wrap their mind around, and those are the kind of holes that just need to be filled and smoothed out. So inexperienced developers can come in and say, oh yeah, I know exactly, yep, okay, let's keep going, kind of thing. I think that's the main holdback there. Let's see, we have any more questions? Oh, HQ wants to know if you're in an X6 BMW or a Defender, Uncle Kushti.
Sorry, what Defender?
I don't know what Defender is. I don't think we have a Defender in the US.
What are the numbers?
X6 BMW. He wants to know what you're in. What we're in. We're both in the same car, Kushti.
Yeah, so actually it's a Chinese car. So yeah, it's not Defender. I don't know what Defender is. Yeah. So the Defender is some big car, right? Gotcha. No, so it's just, I don't know, like pretty small SUV from China.
Functional. I couldn't imagine you driving something not functional, Kushti.
It's actually quite good. So you cannot blame it.
All right, we have Maverick's wanting a dev update while playing poker. We could do that, and wants to know when Joe is going to join poker. Kushti, you've joined a few times and lost some tokens, huh?
Yeah. So it's actually quite hard to join on Wednesdays for me, but Saturday or Sunday. Usually good, so hopefully I will join again some week.
Yeah, I think it's like 2:00 my time on Wednesday, so it makes it really tough. If I'm not busy, I'll take a lunch break at work and do it, but other times it's kind of tough. Okay, it's 10:01, Kushti, and I think it's about good time to wrap it up. We're out of questions.
Concluding, so we need for more developers. So please join if you have skills. So happily there are now 2 contributors even to Chaincash server, for example, right? And then with functional server, I hope to get more Rust developers on board. With everything else, like Dexi even, right? And, core development and so on. Yeah, we always need for more contributors with documentation, tutorials, all that stuff, right? So,
Yep.
Always there is a lot of work, but also there is need for conceptual work, right? Like defining real world use cases and how to get from current tooling to the real world, right? Because I think all the low level primitives are already there, right? So there is need for bridges just to the real world.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
Maybe for some more primitives, actually there will be some news soon. So recently, I reviewed some anonymous proposal. Probably it was sent to me just on kind of opening new markets, right, with Ergo, right, in this case. Hopefully it will be public soon, right? But in general, so there is need for conceptual work, more projects, right, and finding business model, funding models. Even thinking like this Luis Demorash King, right? So did great work on defining usefulness of Demorash and all that stuff. And he actually discovered some things not thought about before.
Yeah, what was that? I saw it in chat. I can't remember what you guys were talking about though. That specific line. It was that it holds. It's anti-inflation. No, what is it? What was the revelation you had in chat right after the spaces?
So the idea is that with Demorash you have fixed supply, right?
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
Not inflationary, not deflationary. So then it's kind of a unique asset, right? Because in Bitcoin, for example, its supply is always decreasing, right? After some time, because more coins lost than generated. And in Ergo, so coins being lost balanced with Demorash, right? After some time. In the long run, so it's kind of unique asset with fixed supply and, in this case, really fixed, unlike Bitcoin, for example, or other cryptocurrencies with limited emission, but not demurrage. And that's actually quite interesting. And it's actually quite exciting to have some unique asset, right?
It is. And let me just add to that too, kind of on a tangent. I've been doing a lot of thinking about people's mindset when they come into cryptocurrencies, and I've narrowed it down to two types of people essentially, and both types are fine. Don't get me wrong, both types are fine. You have a passive investor and an active investor, right? So when you're speaking of those types of investors, some people will buy a token or coin and put it away, and that's it. And they'll check in on the project and see what it is. That's fine. That's great. Sometimes people take a little step further and bitch a lot about it, which, whatever. It's a free open system, But then the second type of investor is what I implore a lot of your passive investors to actually convert to. So that means that what is an active investor? An active investor is somebody that invests in a project and then recognizes that their direct input in the project will benefit their investment, right? So that means that even if it's as little as, hey, I'm going to go on Ergo, I'm going to go on Twitter and blast and repost and comment on everything that I see that's Ergo related. Or, hey, I'm going to see this documentation in Turkish language, and I'm going to convert it to Turkish from English, kind of thing. Just those little simple things. Can you imagine if 10,000 people in the Telegram chat of investors or holders of Erg thought of like one little thing they could do to help forward Erg into the world? That would be a huge lift, just a tiny bit by everybody. So I want to just try to encourage everybody, if you're a passive investor and you're in the chats and you're interacting, think about becoming an active investor. Think about, picking up a little slack and tightening a knot, or, organizing a drawer or that kind of thing. Just very simple things that everybody can do to further the cause of Ergo, because that's what Ergo is. There's nobody to come in and say, Kushti, why aren't you, what the fuck, Kushti, come on, do this, do that, kind of thing. Kushti's working for free. Most of us are working for free because we believe in what Ergo is and what it can be, and the goals that are going to achieve, and the things it's going to do for, as we were talking earlier about real world things. So it helps definitely when even just the littlest thing. So like, let's take Sisyphus push. The other day, we asked for help in designing some core principles for chat and guidelines, and it took him a little bit to do, and he did it in his free time, but he gave us a really good framework that we can build off for that. Those kind of things make a huge difference when everybody pitches a little bit. So that's my soapbox, Kushti. The way to end it. There we go.
Yeah, actually, I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's in the long run should be quite a good business, right? To be an active investor here, upon your definition. Because it's peer-to-peer environment, right? And there are no big players suppressing the ecosystem, right, or parts of it. So then, with its growth, if you're working towards your presence, right, and so some control, right, in this peer-to-peer world. Then with growth of the system, so it will provide benefits, right?
And I also just want to give a shout out to somebody in the ecosystem that was here when I got here and is like the person behind the scenes that I'd say this guy's the Grease of Ergo. He's a guy that checks in on things. He's a guy that, asks questions about things and sees where they're going. I don't know how he does it, but he's everywhere, and that guy's Wombo. So Wombo, you're immensely appreciated in everything you do. There's literally not a week that goes by that I'm not like, holy shit, here's Wombo, making sure stuff's getting done, checking on stuff or checking on socials and that kind of thing. At first I thought Wombo was like a secret Kushti or Kushti's alt. The social Kushti alt, but but no, it's not true. So yeah, Wombo, I'm very appreciative of what you're doing. I'm sure everybody else is too.
All right.
Great. I think that's a good wrap, Kushti.
Yeah. So see you next, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. Yeah, but Friday for sure. All right. And keep in touch, our chats.
All right. See everybody around. Ciao.
Bye.